Welcome to this explainer. Listen, if you're gearing up for the Cambridge AS level Afrikaans language exam, you already know exactly why we're here today. There is one specific section of this assessment that tends to strike absolute fear into the hearts of even the most obsessively prepared candidates. I am talking, of course, about Section 3, the general conversation. And more specifically, we are looking at that notoriously tricky, highly unpredictable transition away from your comfortably prepared topic conversation right into the unknown. We've been analyzing the principal examiner reports, and they consistently highlight that this transition phase is, without a doubt, one of the most misunderstood and poorly executed areas of the entire syllabus. We see it all the time, right? Candidates are doing great, the transition happens, and suddenly they freeze up. They completely lose their conversational flow, they drop their register, and honestly, their grades just absolutely tank. But today, we are going to fix that. We are going to decode the exact linguistic strategies and the hidden assessment objectives that Cambridge examiners are actively looking for behind the scenes. By the end of this session, you are going to be able to navigate this transition with absolute conversational fluency and, more importantly, strategic adaptability. Let's get right into it. Here's our masterclass blueprint for today. First, we'll look at the Section 3 trap, then the technical exam methodology, third, mastering critical analysis, fourth, we'll dive into some top examiner warnings, and finally, number 5, your exam strategy recap.
Section 1, the Section 3 trap.
Okay, let's dive into this because this is where the battle is won or lost. When the examiner formally transitions you from that topic you spent weeks perfectly preparing into the broader, entirely unscripted general conversation, panic almost always sets in. It's human nature. And the immediate trap that 80% of candidates fall right into is what we call superficial breath. I want you to imagine two different types of students here. Let's call them Alex and Sam. Alex is highly technical. Alex has memorized every single Afrikaans vocabulary list in the textbook. But when the examiner pivots to a surprise topic, Alex panics and just starts frantically listing random facts, throwing out broad topic headings, and giving really short, completely shallow answers just to keep the dead air away. Then you have Sam. Sam is a highly creative thinker, great at arguing a point, but Sam lacks structural precision, so when the transition happens, Sam just starts rambling off topic, covering 5 different ideas in 30 seconds without actually explaining any of them. Both Alex and Sam are demonstrating superficial breath. They're trying to show how much they know by covering a mile of ground, but they're only going an inch deep. Here is the secret. The Cambridge Assessment Framework heavily, and I mean heavily, prioritizes analytical depth over superficial breadth. The examiner does not want a frantic list of vocabulary. They don't want 5 shallow answers. They want to see you take one single idea, plant your feet, and discuss it fully and deeply in Afrikaans. They are actively testing your cognitive ability to sustain a complex train of thought in real time under pressure.
So, how do we actually escape that trap of superficial breadth? You have to rely on what the theoretical foundations of the syllabus call systematic analysis. Now, that sounds like a very dense academic term, but in a language context, it is actually incredibly practical. Systematic analysis simply means applying established conversational principles and evidence-based reasoning to confidently navigate entirely unfamiliar prompts. Think of it like a safety net. You absolutely do not need to know everything about every single topic the examiner might potentially bring up. That's impossible. What you do need is a communicative framework. You need the ability to hear a brand new prompt, logically break it down in your head within milliseconds, provide a clear example to support your viewpoint, and express your thoughts with structural clarity. When you have a systematic approach, it doesn't matter if the conversational context feels completely alien to you. You aren't relying on memorized scripts anymore. You're relying on a proven analytical system that works every single time.
Section 2. Technical Exam Methodology. Let's move to this next concept and see how this builds, because now we're getting into the actual mechanics. This is the exact step-by-step procedural framework that top-tier candidates deploy to unlock those highest marking bands. Step 1. Deconstruct the question. This is crucial. When the examiner asks you something new, don't just jump at the first word you recognize. Listen carefully to the entire prompt and mentally isolate the command words. Are they asking you to explain, to compare, to evaluate? Step 2. Extract data. In a spoken language context, extracting data means instantly scanning your brain to recall relevant, high-level vocabulary, specific idioms, and the structural grammar rules you've studied that fit this exact topic. Step 3. Execute with notation. Now, obviously, you aren't writing on a whiteboard during a speaking exam. In a conversational exam, execution with notation means structuring your argument aloud with absolute clarity. It's verbal signposting. You formulate your answer clearly, speaking with confidence, and actually laying out your points logically. Firstly, secondly, in conclusion. And finally, step 4, verify results. This is where the magic happens. In spoken Afrikaans, verifying means actively listening to your own output as you are speaking. It's that high-level metacognition where, if you make a slight grammatical slip, You smoothly self-correct without missing a beat, ensuring you maintain a completely natural conversational flow.
But listen, having great ideas and a structured mental process is honestly only half the battle. Strict presentation conventions matter immensely to Cambridge examiners. Now, how does a concept like presentation conventions translate to a speaking exam? It translates directly to your delivery and your spoken structure. In the context of your Afrikaans conversation, using correct terminology means maintaining the correct, formal academic register. The second you get comfortable and slip into casual, everyday street slang, your marks drop. Proper headings and formats means utilizing those high-level connecting phrases to build your spoken arguments. You need to literally signpost your thoughts for the examiner. Clear annotation means pronouncing your words distinctly and ensuring your tone is appropriate for an intellectual debate. I cannot stress this enough. How you articulate and present your reasoning in the target language is judged just as strictly as the reasoning itself. You have to sound like a scholar.
Section 3, Mastering Critical Analysis.
And this brilliantly illustrates the higher order assessment objectives. But actually, before we crack into the absolute hardest part of this evaluation rubric, I want to take a quick second to pause our session. If you are finding this deep dive valuable and you want to ensure you are fully equipped for every single paper in your syllabus, make sure you hit that subscribe button for the channel. Ace the Exams IGCSE O and A levels. That's at acetheexam_IGCSE. Turn on all notifications right now. Hit that bell so you never miss our weekly Cambridge breakthrough strategies. We are dropping highly technical, syllabus-specific hacks every week, and you really don't want to be the one walking into the exam room without them. Okay, let's look at this rubric. If the examiner asks you to compare two approaches or evaluate an idea during that transition phase, you must hit every single requirement on this matrix to show your linguistic range. Let's go back to our students, Alex and Sam. When asked to compare, Alex might just list a few differences and stop. Sam might talk about how they are similar, but forget to back it up. Neither gets the top mark. You have to identify similarities and differences explicitly. Don't just place two thoughts next to each other and hope the examiner figures it out. You have to apply specific comparative connectives. You need to use specific linking terms in Afrikaans to actively fuse those ideas together. For every claim you make, you must provide evidence. Support each claim logically with an example. And finally, conclusions. This is where so many students fail. They just trail off at the end of a sentence when they run out of words. No, you have to draw a firm conclusion by verbally judging the relative importance of the concepts you just discussed. You have to land the plane.
Now I want you to treat this slide like an interactive workshop. Critical analysis in a language exam isn't just about sounding smart. It demands showing the examiner that you can express complex, multi-sided opinions fluently. Imagine a poorly written student answer right now. What's usually missing? Nuance. When you are discussing a topic, you have to prove you can evaluate the quality of the evidence and look at different perspectives. This means openly identifying limitations in certain arguments using sophisticated language structures. You need to note assumptions being made. Take a little moment in the exam to say, however, an alternative perspective might be, and explore that alternative interpretation out loud. Show the examiner you have the linguistic capability to see multiple sides of an issue and assess how those different angles affect your final conclusion. Proving that you can express these exact nuances clearly in Afrikaans is the precise key that unlocks the absolute highest language bands. It shows maturity, and it shows total language mastery.
Section 4. Top Examiner Warnings.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how explicitly the examiners are warning us. This is direct, high-stakes intelligence from the principal examiner reports. They note a crucial area where candidates literally throw away marks. Listen to this philosophy. Students lose marks by not showing working. Even if your final answer is wrong, method marks can save you. Now, obviously this sounds like a math concept, but how does it apply to a spoken language exam? During the unscripted transition, it is highly likely you are going to make a minor grammatical error, or you're going to struggle to find the exact perfect word you want. That is normal. But students lose marks by freezing up when that happens. They let the mistake derail them, and the conversation grinds to an awkward, agonizing halt. Even if you use the wrong tense, or you stumble over a complex phrase, smoothly correcting yourself, showing your method of communication, or simply finding a workaround to keep the conversation flowing will completely save your grade. Communication is the key here. Examiners actively reward candidates who demonstrate resilience. They want to see you articulate your thoughts naturally, rather than completely shutting down in a silent panic while searching for one elusive vocabulary word.
Building directly on those reports, let's outline the top 3 classic traps where we see candidates make massive mistakes during the topic transition. Mistake number 1, using the wrong approach for the context. We talked about this. You absolutely cannot force a rigidly rehearsed, pre-memorized speech into a spontaneous, dynamic conversational prompt. If the examiner asks about climate change and you give your prepared speech on technology because you panicked, you score 0 for comprehension. Mistake number 2, Forgetting format and presentation conventions. This usually means dropping your register. The moment candidates get nervous, they forget all their high-level academic Afrikaans vocabulary and they instantly fall back on basic, informal grade 8 level slang. Do not let your linguistic quality slip just because the topic changed. And mistake number 3, giving answers that are not specific to the given context. This is huge. If the examiner asks you about a very specific nuance of a topic, do not give a broad, generic, generalized answer just because it feels safe. You have to directly answer the specific context given to you. Otherwise, you are proving you didn't actually understand the prompt.
Section 5, your exam strategy recap.
So, the crucial point we're driving at today is that you need an actionable tool. You need something you can instantly recall under extreme, heart-pounding exam pressure. When the examiner transitions the topic and you feel that wave of panic and your mind suddenly goes completely blank, I just want you to remember this simple memory hack. DEV. Deconstruct, execute, verify. First, deconstruct the prompt you were just given to find its true core meaning. Strip away the fluff and find the command. Second, execute your answer using high-level terminology and a very clear signposted structure. And third, verify your grammar and your conversational flow in real time, gracefully self-correcting if you need to without stopping the conversation. If you keep DEV in your back pocket, you will literally never be caught off guard again. I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought to really ponder before you walk into that exam room. Ask yourself right now, will you sacrifice methodological, conversational depth just to rush through the exam? It is incredibly tempting, when you're nervous, to just speak as quickly as possible and fire off short, safe answers just to get the torture over with. But remember this, Cambridge language exams are conquered by consistent, highly structured, deep communication. Trust your preparation. When that transition happens, take a breath. Articulate your thoughts clearly in Afrikaans. Choose meaningful, critical conversation over sheer speed. If you master this mindset, Section 3 is no longer a trap. It actually becomes the ultimate platform where you can showcase your true academic capability and separate yourself from the pack. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Before you go, I need you to hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exam's IGCSE O and A levels at acetheexam_IGCSE. Turn on the notification bell so you get all our future exam hacks the minute they drop. And right now, jump into the comments and tell me what your target grade is for this paper. Put it in writing, commit to it, and let's go get it. I will see you in the next one.